Dean Springle,
Dean Scribner.
and Jack Griffin. All right, thank you. All right, we'll get this going. We have old minutes. I know I received them today, and I got to review them. They looked fine. Everybody else get to review the minutes?
Yep.
Well, I might want to point out also that Bonnie is absent today. Anybody have any questions about the minutes?
No.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from 10/2/25. All in favor? Well, looking for second.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. I think we've already went through discussing the bylaws of the capital project. Oh, wow, that's funny. All right, the next thing we have is the school department request, which is for the roof for the, what was it, the
Martinson.
Martinson, okay.
Okay, Joanne.
And I would like to ask that they make a presentation to us on that. I'd appreciate it, thank you.
Okay, Joanne.
Good evening.
Page one.
I can't hear you, Bill.
You tell me what page we're on.
I can't hear you.
What page?
5,
I don't know if I've got, I'm
page 5.
not sure, Bill. There's only one article, it's Article 7, I think it is. Yep, 7. All right, we're ready.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm Pat Sullivan. I'm the superintendent of Marshfield Public Schools, and I'm here with Tom Miller, who is our assistant superintendent of Marshfield Public Schools. And we're going to talk about the building project for the Martinson roof. I'm actually going to turn it over to Tom to talk about some of the particulars, and then we'll be here to answer any questions you have, too.
Okay.
Thanks, Pat. Don't have a real presentation prepared, but what we want to focus on really were the questions that came out of your last meeting that you gave to us previously. Fred Russell's here, also our facilities manager, and then on the Zoom meeting is Matt Kazakowski. He's our project architect, as well as Deborah Marai, who's our project manager. So they can really get into any specifics that we want to discuss. But the long and short of it is the Martinson roof. We started this process back in 2016 when we submitted both the Martinson roof and the Furnace Brook roof. At the time, we were accepted into the accelerated repair program for Furnace Brook. We completed that project, continued to submit Martinson as a statement of interest to the Massachusetts School Building Authority. COVID happened. They kind of changed a few things about the program, but we were lucky that we were finally accepted in for the 24-25 cycle. So that's what really kicked this off. We've been looking to have this done for several years. There's a number of deficiencies in the building and with the roof that we can detail, but that's really what where we're at in the process. At last year's special town meeting, the schematic design was approved, and that process was completed. We submitted the full schematic design, which I shared with Jack after the advisory board meeting. The full schematic design summary that was prepared by Matt and Deborah. And that was submitted on August 28th. The timeline is obviously approval at special town meeting. And then the plan would be a debt exclusion vote thereafter. And we're also looking for board approval from the MSBA on October 27th, I believe. So they're kind of falling in line. 29th, sorry. So I don't want to go any further. It would be better if we want to address the 4 questions that you sent via email to us. That would probably be best. That's where I'll look for Matt Matt is from KBA Architects, and he's the one who prepared the full schematic design proposal. It's 137 pages, and the first question that was asked was whether the existing condition is repairable, and love to have Matt jump in and give you a
Sure,
little
I'd be
detail
happy
on
to,
that.
Tom. Thanks, everybody. Good evening. Again, Matt Guzikowski with Castle Booze Associates, architect on this project, and also for Castle Booze, I do envelope specialties. As was mentioned, we did an extensive existing conditions analysis on the building. And, you know, one of the questions that we get asked is, you know, what can we do with the existing roof? Is it repairable? Can we reuse it? There were several deficiencies that we noted in our existing conditions. And part of the issue with a repair approach is that it doesn't address some of the greater concerns that we found with the project. The two biggest concerns that we noted in our existing conditions evaluation was the lack of sumps around the existing roof drains and the lack of tapered insulation to create cricketing. So what that causes is ponding water. Right now, most of the drains on the building are located along the corridors, which are centrally located within the building. And we were lucky enough to be out there for one of our existing evaluation days during the rain. And you could see the water ponding for many, many feet around the center of the building. The existing roof is an EPDM roof. It's coming up close to 30 years of age. And as we typically see when an EPDM roof starts to go, the first thing that goes are the seams, because they're just glue tape seams. And really what's happening is this ponding water is sitting on top of these seams. We also have some skylights that have been tried to be repaired in the past to avoid some leakage. And we just see this as a, you know, kind of a ticking clock with this ponding water issue. So even if we were to repair the membrane, it doesn't take care of the issue of the ponding water. The only way we can do that is by basically getting down, redoing the drains so they have sumps, and providing a tapered insulation plan that actually pushes the water to the drains and gets it off the roof. The other main issue that isn't addressed by a repair situation are the vertical flashings. There's several areas around the auditorium and the gymnasium that have brick walls. Those terminate in old through-wall flashings at the bottom. We noted that there are some deficiencies within the masonry itself, but also in the flashings, just due to repairs over time and trying to, I think, chase leaks, you know, over. And those are things that we certainly want to address with the new roof system. It would be a shame to put on a new roof, but we have issues with the wall systems. And when we were taking an initial look at this, we kind of went with a, you know, good, better, best solution. Best solution was, you know, we considered maybe even redoing the brick itself, but that was going to be very costly. So we looked at two additional options, which we included in the schematic design. One, which is the most economical, which is actually to use the membrane in a vertical orientation to basically stop water infiltration into the wall systems. And then we looked at an alternate to basically replace that with a metal panel. Those two options will help get a edge-to-edge watertight system over the roof. And so we felt it's best to address those major issues with a replacement. There was another question regarding whether we considered EPDM, which is the current system that is on there, as a replacement. Part of the decision, we did initially take a look at all systems. We took a look at PVC, TPO, EPDM, and built up as a potential options. And we sort of whittled them down based on, you know, the conditions we were trying to address, how to do that economically consciously, and provide a system that was going to perform for the school and the, you know, the anticipated not only warranty duration, but even beyond that. And one of the issues with the EPDM is that, one, the wall, basically taking care of that vertical wall would just not be allowed with an EPDM. The other reasons is that we were looking for a system that was also going to be a cool roof to reduce some of the heat island effect. It's good for the building just in the way that it operates to have a cooler roof, but also for all the mechanical systems that are up there. If we can lower the ambient temperature which they have to operate in, that's going to increase the life of the mechanical equipment and accessories that are up on that roof. It's also going to reduce the expansion contraction cycles on the membrane itself. So a darker roof is going to go through a higher heat cycle, and then at nighttime it's going to cool down to ambient, whereas a cooler roof is going to heat up but not as much, so it reduces the amount of stress and strain on the membrane itself. So we were moving towards TPO and PVC, and then in regard to those two systems, they're very similar in that they're both heat welded seam systems rather than a tape system, which is what EPDM is. And typically we see 3 to 4 times stronger bonding with a hot air welded system that you get with a PVC or a TPO than you do with a lap seam tape joint. So in actuality, the seams become stronger than the fields in these systems. So the likelihood of seam failure is reduced significantly with these two. We ultimately landed on TPO as the final design for 2 major reasons. One, economically, the numbers we were getting was that it was going to be more cost effective for the project, but also it was going to be more environmentally friendly. So ultimately, that is how we ended up with TPO being the preferred design membrane for this roof.
What is the shelf life of the TPO in your projection? I thought I saw 20 years for the TPO is where you projected it'll last.
Yeah, so the warranty itself is 20 years. But again, as I was mentioning, we're looking for something performance-wise that's probably going to outlast that. So although the warranty will be 20 years, again, the heat welded seams are going to perform much better. We're also providing a cover board underneath the system, which the current system does not have, which increases the impact resistance of the overall system. We're also specifying a 60 mil in thickness. I believe the current one is only 45. So the thickness and the cover board and the fact that we're going to have hot air welded seams, would lead someone to believe that this is easily going to outlast the 20 years that the warranty period as a performance.
On the current roof, back in '98, I remember voting for the addition of the school. How much of the roof is the new roof from '98, and how much is from the roof from 1963 when the school was built?
Yeah, so what we found is a little bit of differing information. We did some test cuts, and it appears as though between 1998 and the 1960s original construction, there was some replacement that was done. And in 1998, when they added the addition, they removed a decent amount of the roof, but they did keep some EPDM around the perimeters. I'm not sure if there was a repair or what, but when we did a test cut, we did confirm that we found on the roof edge an EPDM on insulation and then another layer of EPDM on insulation. So it's actually a double system kind of around the existing perimeters of the courtyards and the exterior.
On the I could remember EPDM versus TPO, from what I gather and what I researched, EPDM lasts twice as long as the TPO. And with that in mind, it makes the EPDM the less cost to the town. Because in your presentation, it would last 20 years where the EPDM would last 40 years. And that means every 20 years we would be replacing the roof, where this, with the EPDM, we would only have to replace it once every 40 years.
I mean, I would say we're just approaching 30 on this EPDM and it's already deteriorated. So I don't know that 40 years is an industry number that would be claimed. I would say though that with a TPO system, you could easily get, with existing conditions and even ponding water, a 30-year warranty, whereas they would not give you that warranty with the EPDM.
What is your warranty on an EPDM? Is it 20 years only?
Typically 20. They can do upgrades so they can increase the membrane thickness and a few other things to try and get 30. But again, you're still getting all the other issues that I mentioned. The higher thermal cycling of the system due to the color and the solar absorption. And you have the lap seam tapes. So you have a bit of a maintenance issue in that you're constantly having to maintain those seams, whereas the TPO's hot air weld, it's pretty, unless somebody goes up there and cuts it, there's really no maintenance on the seams.
Don't you have the opposite effect with a black roof that in the wintertime it helps with the heating?
So yes and no, it does, but it ultimately goes back down to ambient temperature at night. So while it does heat up and will help melt some of the snow, it goes back to whatever the ambient temperature is. So you're getting that higher highs and lows for the thermal cycling, which a lot of times what we see, and we saw a little bit on Martinson, is you get a tenting effect where the membrane stretches and it almost acts like a trampoline and it starts to pull away from flashings and wall edges. The lighter color roofs, due to the less cycling, they hold their shape much longer and you get less of that tenting effect. The also benefit is that because of the lighter color, the snow, let's say it's wintertime, the snow actually does add a bit of a thermal resistance. So you do basically preserve some of the thermal, assembly of the system because the snow itself also reduces the oncoming air temperature change.
Why don't they paint the EPDM white? I'm just curious.
They do. So there's a white EPDM, although the way they make it white is they use titanium dioxide, which is detrimental to the EPDM, which is a rubber-based product. So what they actually do is they impregnate a layer of EPDM with titanium dioxide, and then they basically sandwich it to an additional layer. That top layer of titanium dioxide EPDM is actually a sacrificial layer. So what happens is over time that layer wears and you get down to the black EPDM later on. Installers really don't like using it because it chalks and it makes those lap seam tape joints fail sooner because the bonding, you don't get as good at bonding. The main manufacturer that we've been using as part of this design is Elevate, which used to be Firestone. Firestone basically got rid of their roofing division to just focus on the tire aspect. And now they're owned by a parent company called Wholesome. But the Elevate that I've been talking to for the TPO, they sell EPDM still. And I had a conversation about this specifically because they're in some of the neighboring states, they have higher solar reflectance requirements that are difficult to get. And really their conversation with me is that this product just basically there's typically a 3-year required reflectance value they need to meet to pass the test, and their product just meets it before it wears down and it loses that reflectance layer, which is really not, is something it's not performing like that, just making it past the bar. It tells a sign there that it's really not the product, that there are products that have good solar reflectance that hold their value over time. They don't have these chalking issues. They don't have these seam delamination issues. So although they do offer a light colored EPDM, as a designer, I really wouldn't recommend it.
Is this on?
What was that, Bill?
Is this on? Is this mic on?
I can't hear you.
Is the mic on?
Your mic's right there. Yeah,
It's on.
yeah, it's on.
It's green.
One of the things that I was looking at was making a comparison to schools that were done recently, 2021, 2023. And you have in Plymouth, you have the West Elementary School. In Worcester, you have the Arts Magnet School. Those were, all done in EPDM. 2021 for Plymouth, and it looks like 2022 on Worcester. I have a couple of others. And this annualized cost, when you take the square footage down, and you also take the reimbursement that we'll be close to, is Plymouth would be $55,000 a year. Worcester would be $87,000 a year, but Marshfield would be around $169,000 a year. Now, these are all within 3 years. Why are we paying so high? Hello?
Is that, I'm sorry, was that a financial question?
Yeah.
I think it's a mixture. I'm not, I'm not,
The EPDM in Plymouth is $23 a square foot it came out to, with taking their reimbursement out from the school authority. Worcester comes to 36, we come to 35, but they get 40 years out of their EPDM. We're only gonna get 20. So when you base it like that, they're 5587 and we're 169, almost $170,000 a year. Given the fact that I don't think that we had a maintenance contract on the roof that's presently there, I would say that it may last that long, it may go to 40 years, but I think that we don't have a maintenance contract. And that's a must, because we have 3 other schools coming up. And I'm not convinced that TPO is the way to go. That's just my opinion. By looking at the cost. I mean, if you think about it, we're paying roughly $7.8 million. That's gonna last 20 years. We can put one in for, let's say, $7.8 million.
He did not
It'll-
say- He said it could last much longer than 20 years.
But that's,
Correct.
but so according to the EDPM, we gotta talk apples with apples. So we're saying 20, it's got probably 40 in it. It's gotta be apples with apples, and it's double the cost when you think about it, because you have to replace that year, every 20 years. If not, if you have a maintenance contract, it may go longer, but I don't understand why we don't have a maintenance contract on our roofs. They come in every year, they look at them, they fix them, and that's something that we should have.
Switch.
Yeah. Thanks. Fred Russell, Facility Manager and resident, 92 Marshall Street. We do have an on-call roofing contractor. We do maintenance on the roofs. We do inspections quarterly. We get them up on the roof. If high wind conditions coming, we go up on the roofs before and after a storm event, high wind event. We do respond. We spend probably $40,000 to $50,000 a year on repairs and maintenance. We do Meyer inspections twice a year on the roofs.
And that's since you probably came on board, but from
Right.
1963, probably until 1990, we didn't have anybody doing anything, or whenever you came on the board.
Right.
So that roof was being neglected as far as not being looked at. It's nobody to blame in this room. It's something that we have to take care of for the future. So that contract.
I agree with you.
So it just so happened this morning, very coincidentally, I had one of the largest commercial roof guys as a customer. And I got to talk to him all the way to Logan about what was going on. That's why I'm a little up to date on what's going on as far as cost and all that. But I understand that. You know, one of the questions I have for you while you're there is, when we were at the select board / advisory board meeting, there was mention of mold. We wouldn't have mold in our schools, existing in our schools, would we?
No, we abate it. If we see any mold, we abate it right away.
Okay.
But if we don't replace the roof,
And also, we have 70-something skylights that have been wrapped already.
we had to shrink wrap them. They
Right.
go back to 1963. They're
Do
all
we-
yellow, UV damage, cracked.
Do we have, like we did years ago, do we have buckets in the hallway, or? We do?
Yeah.
Okay. And why can't we repair them?
We do repair them, and then another seam will let go. It's not in the same location, but we put buckets out. If you have a leak, and you see the leak, they put buckets under them. They abate them within 72 hours, or 24 hours, actually.
All right, great. One of the other questions I have is, and I'm going to open it up to all you guys. I just did a little bit of homework, and I don't want to hog the board, but I just want to let you know what I did for homework, and
Yep.
I'll swing it over to you guys for sure.
Yep.
One of the things, we are currently in the schematic stage of this right now.
Well, the schematic design was submitted. August.
So, as far as that, with the authority, school authority, if we did not approve this at town meeting, because all we could do is make recommendations, you still can go back in April. Am I right?
Not exactly. I did forward a document on the board action letter. I just forwarded it about a half hour before the meeting, but the reason why it's coming to town meeting now, because the school building authority sets a specific timeline with dates that need to be reached. So the big key here is that districts complete the schematic design study, which we did in August. The original commencement date of this whole process with the MSBA was November 1st of '24. So take it back to November 1st of '24. We have 14 months from that date to execute a project funding agreement with the MSBA. So that gives us from November 1st to approximately end of December of this year to execute that project funding agreement. And then when the project funding agreement is executed with the MSBA, if we get board approval from the MSBA and everything goes through to the town as well, then you only have 90 days after that to actually get the full approval. So there's a timeline that's happening here, is the reason why it's at this special town meeting now. I don't know if we could potentially go back in April. I don't know if Deborah has experience. I'm not sure if Deborah could speak to that, but I think we're pretty much locked in right now to the timeline that we have.
Okay.
Yeah, you are locked into the timeline you have now, so I would have to do some research to see if it did fail the vote, if they would consider this, because they've approved this for a certain time frame, and if you don't meet those deadlines, then it theoretically, and I'll just say theoretically, gets kicked out of the system, and you might have to submit a statement of interest and start all over again. I'm not saying that they wouldn't potentially reconsider it if it was requested from the district, but that's not a given. Just give you an example, we have another project where there are multiple roofs in one district, and one of the roofs we have to do some additional work on to get it to the schematic design submission than we thought, and we had to request special approval just to go a little bit further on and submit this a few months later, and it then the work will actually not be done this summer, but the summer following, and we needed to request them to grant approval for that. So whatever the timeline that was laid out in that letter that Tom referred to is the timeline that, is currently your guarantee.
I thought I looked on your list and I saw, I don't remember the school, but Vertex was the company that I believe was doing the schematics, and it was stuck with schematics for about 4 years, and it's still on as a schematic. Is that just an error?
On the MSBA website?
Yeah, it's on your website, yeah.
I'm not with the MSBA. If it was on the MSBA website, it could just be that it's not updated.
Okay.
Just FYI, I'm your owner's project manager, so we are assigned by the MSBA.
Right.
Just as Matt, who was speaking with Castle Blues, as the design team was assigned to work on your project.
Okay. All right, I open it up to the rest of you, Linda.
Yep. So I just wanted to ask about the cost. So 7.8 million. And back in June of '24, it came to town meeting to restore and repair 5 school roofs, which we know that there's issues with the other roofs. So this is a lot of money to ask for one school. I know in the rain we just had this week that the high school was leaking. But that was 3.5 million for,
Yeah, I'll turn to Fred, but I can tell you real quick. Martinson wasn't part of that.
I know it
Right,
wasn't,
like,
yep,
and
I see
because
that, yep.
there's a differing level, and Fred can speak to this, and it's going to come, you guys are gonna see this once we get to our request for annual town meeting as well.
Yep.
Right now, Martinson is beyond repair, so that's the roof replacement. We have, specifically Daniel Webster and Governor Winslow that are very, very close to being in this same position. However, there is, Fred can speak to it.
You're doing great.
What's that?
You're doing great.
So, I don't know the definitions, but essentially that 3.5 million, if that could be a little bit off now because it picked up, but
Right.
Fred explains it, it's like seal coating your driveway.
It's like seal coating your driveway. It's
And gives
actually-
you an additional 20 to 25 years. And the big thing on that right now, which has changed since then, is now that is subject to MSBA reimbursement as well, which is a huge thing for us. So we are, right now, Martinson, just is a level 10. Those other roofs, I mean, Daniel Webster is approaching Martinson, but we still have an opportunity to seal coat for a lot lesser cost, potentially get MSBA reimbursement, and not have to go through this process of an almost $8 million roof.
Yep,
So
And
that's
if I-
where we're at.
If I could just add too, the warranty for the restoration process is 25 years.
for the 5 schools.
Yeah, for the new process, we're advocating this restoration, I'll call it seal coating process, where it's a 4-part application that Tremco does. And actually, it's actually there's a woven fiberglass mat, gets good impact resistant. And for comparison reasons, we're putting 60 mils on Martinson. These end up about 130 mils thick, so it's almost twice, it's at more than twice as thick. And it can be done, again, 20 years from now, you can clean it and recoat it again on top of the existing coat. So it's something that I think we really should consider doing, you know?
And that'll be, I mean, we're focusing on Daniel Webster first, so when we meet with you over, for what's coming forward for April, that's gonna be our major focus, is Daniel Webster roof, because we don't wanna get it to where we're at with Martinson right now.
Right, okay. Because it's just gonna be a lot for the town to see this much money between fall and spring. Yeah.
All set, Linda?
Yes.
Yep. Dean? Adam? Stilly?
I just have one question. We ran into a horror show at the high school, the new, I'll call it new high school. Probably do that for the next 20 years. I don't understand, I understand why we had a problem with the high school up there because of the shoveling that went on that took place after the big storm that we had a few years back. But what do we do? What protects us for this here? How much do we just spend on doing this over? Again, because we sent people up there with shovels and ruined the roof, ruined the warranty on the roof. So what precautions are there in this thing here, in the work that we're doing on it, that's gonna protect us if, God forbid, somebody else decides 10 years from now to go up and do the roof again?
Basically, we have an on-call roofing contract, and part of his scope, his ability to respond is with shovelers. I think what happened in 2015, I wasn't here, but what I hear was a major, 2015 was a
Yeah.
major event, you had buildings collapsing, and there was no contractors available. Now, we have a contract that I can contact and say, hey, listen, I'll need crews tomorrow to shovel roofs at Marshfield for the next 3 days, or whatever it may be.
Okay.
So we have, and they're gonna go with plastic shovels. You don't have to bring it down to you have to bring it down within 6 inches. You don't bring it down to the membrane, you bring it down to a
Good.
manageable level. Hit
Thank
the drifts and stuff like
Thank
that.
you.
Can I ask a follow-up question? So, because one of the things with that was that the roofers, there was no insurance. So with this contract, if something happens again,
Oh, yeah,
is there insurance this time?
we have plenty of insurance on our contracts, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I have a couple additional questions. First of all, we're going to fund this with a debt exclusion vote if it does get through town meeting, and just for purposes of letting you know that, you know, November 11th, we did 101.4 million, we were reimbursed, we had a debt exclusion vote positive. 2017, we did the Furnace Brook, which was 3.0 we got from MSBA, and we paid 5.4 million. That was a debt override. 2019, that included the police station, DPW, and the senior center. We spent 49.8 million. 2025, although it was defeated, it cost the town $750,000 last year, which we had to come up with. So pointing that in that direction, if the emergency is being caused because we have to get the paperwork done in time so that they can meet in October, and if we don't have a real cost comparison where I'm stating that, $20 to 40 years to get versus the 20, it doesn't make economical sense. So I don't think that the proper homework, and as far as the comparison goes, I don't see a comparison that says, this roof lasts 40 years, and this roof lasts 20 years, and this is what it costs, and it costs double for the town. And I just can't shake that out of my head. I want to be able to say something that's positive, but if it's costing us more and the emergency is caused by the timing of the process, I don't know if that falls within an emergency, number one, and number two, I just can't shake the fact that it's going to cost us twice the amount.
We have an expert roofer, a roofing architect,
Yeah,
who is
the experts.
contradicting your opinion of the 20 versus
The
40.
the expert exactly said what I said. He said that it could be 20, it could be 40 for, you know, yours could go for 30. I'm just doing apples. In my comparison that I ran, and it shows that the EPDM roof could last 50 years, but I went to 40 to be comparison to your 20. And if I did the 50, it would make it even more lean towards,
I think you're saying 20 when 20 is the warranty. The EPDM warranty is also 20.
but yes,
I just,
the warranty is that, but I also have the information that that's what the average roof lasts. So what it says in the research that I did was, it says, and I used AI, I'm going to tell you right now, I used AI, and I got many examples, because AI can possibly be an error, and I know that by writing history. But, and I double-checked it, triple-checked it, I gave it all the figures, and I'm telling you, that's what it came up with. And I think that as a town, especially right now, where we're, you know, got to be conscious of how much money that we spend. And if we can repair that roof in April and start this process all over again, I personally would recommend that, because I like to see the comparison. Now, the other thing too is, and this doesn't slant towards whoever's working on giving you the estimates and everything, but you can't use an outside contractor. You have to use what the school authority tells you to
No,
use.
that's incorrect.
I thought I read that.
This project will be bid.
Say that again?
Project will be bid
We bid out.
for the contractor.
You went out with a private contractor that's gonna do the job and outside the school's recommendations?
Correct, yes.
That's interesting. Okay, I didn't know that.
No, the architect and the OPM are assigned by the school building authority, but then once the whole proposal is put together, it's put out to bid, and
All right,
and
then
the-
that's good.
we
That
select-
part's good. Again, it just still comes down to numbers, you know, to me.
So, I mean, the numbers, and to that matter is, you know, these are the estimated costs. Once the package is bid, it could come in less, perhaps significantly less.
What we both are not, we are not roofers.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't we want to have the comparison of both? That's what I'm saying. When you discover that that's probably a way to go. Why wouldn't we want?
Maybe I can provide a little bit of clarity too. I know we've been talking a lot about just the roof membrane, but this project it has multiple components that it addresses. So I know you looked at some other schools around and their costs, but they may not be representative of the scope of work that this school is doing. So some of the additional things that we're doing in addition to the roof membrane itself are all the perimeter edges. There's quite a bit of wood perimeter edge on this building that is deteriorated away. We noticed in several places it's got openings inside the walls. So part of this roof replacement is also taking care of all the edge metal. And we also have a base bid, which is economically, minded, and an alternate for basically an enhancement version, trying to deal with those issues. The other things we're trying to do is we have a lot of skylights on this building. So we have to take that into account in the cost of the repairs. Currently, we're trying to basically put in new decking around there. So that is a cost that maybe these other projects didn't bear that are unique to Martinson. Some of the other things we're doing is replacing all the non-OSHA compliant ladders and accessories with new OSHA compliance so that the school is up to date and they're reducing their kind of risk management. So I know we've been talking a lot about membrane, but there are quite a bit of accessories and additional things that we're doing as part of this project for a holistic approach, not just thinking about the membrane only. And just to clarify, I went through a few manufacturers on EPDM. I did not find a 40-year. I'm not aware either, just myself. They seem to max out at 30 years. So as far as the warranty is concerned, I think we are looking at apples to apples between TPO and EPDM. Service life, I think, is probably a little bit more judgmental towards where is the project located, what were its exposure conditions, did they have a specific mile per hour requirement, like if it was near the shoreline. I think those have big effects on the ultimate longevity of the system. But I think if we're just going to talk about the performance, again, to the gentleman who spoke about shoveling, a hot air welded seam is going to resist a shovel, whereas a lap seam, tape seam of an EPDM is more likely to delaminate. So I think we are much closer in line than we are.
And then I would like to also just add to what Matt is saying about this and there were some comments made about other school projects and their costs. I had done, and Tom and Frederick might remember this, an analysis at the beginning of this journey together where I looked at information on the MSBA website related to a handful of projects dating back to 2020, and all the information I could find on their website to understand roof costs, roof project costs, and in that information it did provide the roof type and everything, but you have to be careful because in the information that's provided you don't know potentially what else might be included in those numbers. For example, some of these roof projects are kicking in a bunch of handicap accessibility requirements. We have a few small things we have to do on this project, but they're not major. But there could be other scopes included. Or if a district decided that they wanted to replace some HVAC as part of this project, those things, rooftop units wouldn't be necessarily, or they wouldn't be eligible for reimbursement by the MSBA as part of their grant program, but it may have been the right time to do it. So all of those numbers are in those projects you see on the MSBA website or not, and you can't really tell until you dig in or do some research on the projects or know somebody in the town to find out what was really included in that project. So it's a little bit hard. Speaking of apples to apples, it's a little bit hard if you're looking at these MSBA projects unless you really know the scope of what was included and what was beyond roofing in them. And also, because I tried to do a comparison, tried to understand square footage comparisons and tried to understand square footage per roofing type, it was a little tricky. So I would just be careful of that sort of data because it's a little hard to tease out.
One of the things that I did do was to pull the cost summary for the Marshfield Elementary School roof project, and the roof membrane itself is 55% of the project, and I do see all the rest that is in on there. So wouldn't it make sense to do the same thing, a cost summary system, looking at it as a EDPM? Then you have apples with apples. Would that not be the correct thing to do? Because on the life cycle, again, I went to 20 to 40, but in all honesty, the low end on TPO was 15. So that makes it, if it's 15, 30. I mean, we already know that we've got 27 years on the roof right now that we have, and that's the EDMP or PDM. And I'm just thinking that we should really be comparing apples with apples and not being rushed into an emergency that where a town right now has to look out for its financial balance sheets and stuff right now, as far as, what we need to spend in the future. Because we're not even sure, I don't think yet, what the Volk School's gonna cost us for this year. I don't know if it's 760,000, we're not sure, or what it's gonna cost us in 2027, or 2026, I think is scheduled, but, so there's a lot there. I mean, that's just my opinion, that's all.
I agree, that's a lot there. I mean, it's one of the reasons why it's being presented by a debt, as a debt exclusion. Pat, Fred, and I all live in Marshfield as well. We pay our
Yeah.
taxes. I did provide, just before in an email, the tax impact. Thanks Sean Strobel, our treasurer, for providing that. It would be a 20-year bond with an estimated 4.25% interest rate. One thing I want to note is that I had the same information back from 2017. In 2017, the average Marshfield home value was $405,000. You want to guess what the average home value is now?
750.
$758, $759.
close.
So that's a huge jump, and that speaks a little bit to the town and what's going on in town, and obviously housing values are going up, but all told, the debt exclusion would be estimated about $4 million for 4.1, just under. That's with contingency. Year one, it's $37.94, so just under $38 for the year for the average house of $759,000. So, and that decreases over the 20-year period, and that last year it's $22.76 a year.
Yeah, I think the Marshfield High School was something like $35 too, when it first started. Well, I think that's what the effect
That
was.
was a 30-year.
Yeah, I thought I read it somewhere, that's why.
30-year for about, I think the cost to the town was 50-something million, so it was higher than that.
Yeah, to be a little bit higher probably, based on a 4%. I mean, again, I think I said what I wanted to say, and I think I got my answers. I'd like to have more of a discussion with the board on this and table this for next week to discuss this more. If I can get a motion to table this till next meeting.
I'll second. I'll make the motion.
Anybody second Dean's motion? Billy?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Deborah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, take care.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Dean, you are the man, DPW.
Okay.
You want to get Sean up there and Robert Mayhew?
Sean, can you hear me?
I certainly can.
How you doing? Yes, we can. So I met with,
What article number is it?
it is Article 34.
34.
That's the trucks, and then there's another article as well.
Yep, gotcha.
We'll start with Article 33, because that was the two
All right,
pumps.
so Article 33, Bill.
The pump is back up.
All
Oh,
right.
so that is,
It's Article 33 and 34 of
Okay.
the two that we discussed.
right.
So I'll let Sean speak to it in depth if you have questions, but basically, having a backup pump is almost essential because last year, two pumps died, and they almost, if they lost the third, that would mean it'd take almost, I think, 30 weeks to get a new one in. It was insane. So this pump is necessary as far as I'm concerned, and, you know, I mean, there's nothing more, to discuss. We have,
33.
it's Article 33. So, like I said, the pumps were,
Page
they were
39.
rebuilt, and that, they were lucky to rebuild them, but not to have a backup in case they couldn't rebuild them, for 60, I mean, we'd all be without, it would be up. So, I mean, that was the discussion around Article 33. Do you want to add something, Sean?
Yeah, thank you, Dean. So, Dean's right. We have three effluent pumps that work in conjunction with each other. We did have two fail, and we're operating on one. Well, we can get by with it, but if that one had passed away and gone to heaven, we would have been in big trouble. We would have had backups everywhere, and we wouldn't be able to clean the effluent going up to the outfall pipe. And I think Dean is correct. It's very critical. We want to have one on the shelf because if I put an order in today for one, I wouldn't see it for 30 weeks. And God forbid with winter coming up that we had something go down and we didn't have a replacement.
Any questions?
Nope, I don't.
Take a vote on this?
Okay.
All in favor of approving Article 33 for the $65,000 for the Spear wastewater effluent pump? Say aye.
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 Oh, you gotta get a second, sorry.
Second.
Second. Aye,
Aye.
aye, aye. Thank you. Article passes.
Okay, moving on to Article 34. So they have, I met with the DPW, and they are dropping the two administrative vehicles.
Which,
So,
Correct.
which is which? The
which is the,
2,500 and 3,500?
no, those are the ones they are buying. I believe,
Tahoe and the, I don't mean to interrupt you.
yeah, no,
The
please do,
Tahoe-
because there's 5 numbers here, so.
Yeah, the Tahoe and the K1, 1500, the half-ton. We're gonna postpone those to the spring because we don't feel as though that's a necessity at the moment. We can get by with what we have, but the other trucks, they're all enterprise vehicles. The two wastewater trucks are off the road, they won't pass inspection. Three out of the 4 water trucks, 2 didn't pass inspection, and the other one got totaled in an accident a few months back in front of our garage, trying to get out. So we're down a lot of vehicles, and the critical thing about those vehicles is they all have snowplow routes, and they also gotta be able to get into the wastewater plant, keep that clear, as well as our pump stations. So that's why, well, I'll get it back a little further. In the spring, they were talking about a lease program, so they took all the vehicles, those same vehicles off, postponed them, and we're gonna go to a lease program. That got tabled, and we were already behind the 8 ball with the vehicles, because there was no money a few years ago to get vehicles. So I think it's critical, and that's why I'm asking in the fall to get these enterprise account vehicles so we can get back up to snuff again. The other ones can wait.
So what is the dollar amount? Because there's a bunch of trucks in here. It was 227,000 originally for a small dump truck, and then there's 440,000 for 3 K2500s. Then there's a Chevrolet 6500 or equivalent dump truck for 133,000. what is the amount of money we're talking here, since you deleted a couple?
So-
I'm trying to figure it out.
You took out the 99,750 and the 33,250, correct?
Yes.
So you took out
correct.
about 140,000 of it. I believe, and that is hard to follow, I do agree.
I know, the way it's written is very difficult to follow.
So-
Something
so-
that
There was-
I've done in the past.
There was 8 trucks requested, correct?
6 trucks, right?
6.
6?
6, and then we're down to the 4 trucks. And these are enterprise trucks, which means they're used to, they're used in the line of business every day. So so isn't it 440 plus the 133? Isn't that the total?
Yes, yep, I haven't got the warrant in front of me, I'm at home, but,
Yeah, because
you are correct.
the funds transferred were just the 227,
Yep.
so that's, goes into the 440. So,
Say that again,
so it's 573 is the amount.
573. You got 440 and 227. What happens to
No,
the
227 is just, the way it's, they're transferring 227,000 from one fund to another, so, but I believe it's 440.
They're transferring available funds of 227 for the purchase of a Chevrolet K2500 pickup truck or equivalent K3500.
And it says, or the sum of 440 for the purchase of 3 K25 trucks.
Correct.
So which way are we going with this?
Again, Jack, I haven't got the article, the warrant in front of me, but if you scratch out the two,
99 and 33, yep.
yeah, the admin, vehicles, we're looking at a total of 440 for the water department and 133 for the sewer, wastewater department. Am I correct by saying that, Dean?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
It is hard to follow, but that is the deal.
It
So-
is very hard to
that-
follow.
so 533
133 out of wastewater and 440 out of water.
And then, and what that means, so that's 573, it's gonna purchase 4 trucks.
But we don't know what 4 trucks they are, what type they are. How do I,
Well,
I
some
don't,
of them are dump trucks, small dump trucks that are under the CDL threshold because we're having a hard time getting people to get their CDLs. And we're having a hard time getting people to come to work, to take the positions we have open. So we're trying to gear back a little bit and get some vehicles that we can use on a daily basis to do the work we need to do that fall under the CDL threshold. That's why the 2 dump trucks are on there. The rest of them are all pickup trucks. Each division, water and wastewater, get a small dump truck, and the rest are pickup trucks.
okay, so the old ones, 2 of them are junked and one needs to be
Totaled.
repaired?
One's total.
Total.
One's
So
total.
the 2, they did not pass inspection, but why did they not pass
That was-
inspection?
Exactly,
Because there were 2 rusty,
2 rusty,
and they did not pass the emissions.
okay. So what are they used for?
Day-to-day operations,
Do
go
they-
check all the
Do they
pump
plow?
stations.
Do they,
Excuse me?
They all
do they
They
plow?
plow as well, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, is the rust severe?
Well, it doesn't pass
Yes.
inspection. So it's a safety issue, they're not gonna, it means you can't drive it on the road.
They won't pass inspection, correct.
So,
For the rust, not just the
Yeah,
admissions?
well, rust is the number one reason that they basically have to, it's a whole underbody.
do we have pictures?
We do not have pitches.
I didn't think they checked rust during inspections.
You want to see
I
pictures?
haven't had rust on your cars in a long time, but.
I mean, we've done that in the past, right, Bill?
Yes.
Pictures, yeah. I think, Sean, we want to see pictures of it.
That's fine.
The other thing too is that we've been drawing on these enterprise funds a lot. And I think the last numbers I saw was each enterprise fund had about $2.5 million in it. I may be wrong, but that's what I thought I read.
No, you're right.
When do we hit a threshold where we say we have to raise the water or we have to raise the sewer? What is that number? Do you know, or was that just the board of DPW I have to talk to?
I would say the board, but it's below $1 million, and we don't ever let it get that far. I want to say now it's back up to 1.5. If we go below that, we try to stay away from spending retained earnings. And I don't know if you know me well enough, but I am not one to go out and buy things that we don't need. I am very frugal, but when it gets to the point where the vehicles aren't gonna pass inspection, not safe for the staff, we can't use them, and we have to get our work done, that's when you're gonna hear from me. Otherwise, I don't really say much.
Yeah.
I let things go by the wayside. We'll get by what we have.
Well, I
I'm
can,
not asking for any big vehicles.
yeah, I can understand it being an emergency since it's the winter coming up and they do plow. But I wouldn't be doing, and this board wouldn't be doing its due diligence unless we saw pictures and stuff. Because I would have people saying, you approved this, but you didn't even look at the vehicles. So that's why I would like to get pictures.
Well, there's two things we can do. We can go down to what we call the vehicle graveyard
Graveyard,
on Marshfield Street, or we can just get pictures and I'll email them to you.
Yeah, just take pictures and email them, that would be great. You can email them,
Okay.
email them to Dean.
Okay,
You
that's
make-
easy enough.
But that'll make Dean check his mail, because he hasn't done that in 4.5 years.
Oh, yeah. I text Sean's. I was kidding.
I can
but-
text them to you too, Dean. I have your
All right.
phone number.
So, on this,
You want, you will have, okay, yeah, just take them tomorrow and send it. So the other thing Sean forgot to mention was they didn't buy any new vehicles last year, right, Sean?
We haven't bought any new pickup trucks, and so I've been here for 2 years since I got back,
Yep.
and I'm going back another 2 years before I came back. We haven't bought any because
I know they've
Hey, we
always
couldn't get
asked,
them.
but they didn't get them. Because there was supposed to be some lease program that they were gonna look into.
Yeah.
And then it,
yes, there was a lease program, but before that, they were just unavailable, and by the time we got them, they were already, it was 2 years after.
So how many years has it been since you bought new vehicles?
I would say to be safe, 3.
Sean, these are gas vehicles, right? They're not electric things.
Oh, no, they're not electric.
Okay, thank you.
Yep,
so I would say that we table 34 till the pictures, and we'll vote on that
let me just
next
ask,
week.
would you be comfortable just assuming that the pictures are gonna confirm the, you know, I believe that obviously if they're off the road, they can't find inspections, that was the state saying that.
I can't be presumptuous.
Okay.
We're gonna be here one more
So do you-
meeting anyways to meet for the school.
So what pictures so you want the two ones that have been,
I
that
wanna
been
see
taken
the
off the road?
rotting frames that are, there, and the one that's told.
And the one that's told?
I mean,
I'll do that tomorrow, Dean.
Okay,
I'm going-
yeah, no, I'm not worried, I'm just,
we'll have we have to
If
get
you can
back
get
together.
those pictures tomorrow, and we can look at them ourselves over the weekend.
yeah.
I don't see a problem with going ahead and approving that now at this particular point.
We can take a vote on it.
Yeah, I mean, I know we have to meet again, but I have to assume we're gonna,
So somebody make a motion.
Make a motion that we table the
34,
Huh?
Article 34.
Article 34 until we get a glance at these trucks that are being replaced, and that if they do look as bad as they show to be, is that we will go ahead and do that, give them the money to replace the trucks.
We get a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Sec-
But
Nay.
that's okay.
Yeah.
Motion passes.
Yep.
All right.
Okay,
I think that's it. Anything else, Dean?
I'll forward the pictures off tomorrow. Yep. That's it for DPW, correct, Sean?
That's all we talked about, Dean.
Yep.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Yep. So on that note, I think we need to schedule a meeting for next week. And I'm gonna look at my calendar and see if it still works, hopefully. Would be next Thursday. Shoot, I have to do something, but I can do next Thursday. Does anybody have a problem at next Thursday? It's gonna be a fast one,
Okay, yeah, no problem. You're gonna do 6 again?
6 o'clock.
Okay.
6 o'clock.
Yep.
Linda? Oh,
Jack,
Trish, yep.
do you have any questions for Peter?
I can't hear.
Do you have any questions for Peter?
You can let me go.
Peter's here. I know it. Peter, Can you tell me what the capital budget request items are this year?
Whatever you say they are, Jack.
I had to pick them out of the book, but, all right, I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Wait a
All in
minute, are we
favor?
all right with, what's her name?
Oh, we didn't do your, yeah, we did yours.
Yeah, but we didn't do, we didn't, Norris, are we close enough?
She'll be doing.
The who?
Norris.
Who's,
Do
no,
we
right.
have, Norris,
Town clerk,
town
whatever.
clerk,
What about her?
are we close enough with her with the dates? This is this Thursday, we're talking next Thursday.
You won't believe what you have to do to get a meeting. Yeah, I'll get it done. I have to come down town hall and do it. It's.
Is it 6 PM?
It's staff related.
Is it
Huh?
6 PM?
6 PM, yeah. It'll be next Thursday.
Okay, so you were doing your motion to adjourn.
Oh, yeah, and Dean seconded it. And all in favor?
All right.
Aye.